example, if you wanted to look at Florida State, you could look at their graduates and each of their programs and see where they're going, see if they're working, how much money they're making. It's pretty interesting statistics. So from those statistics, it takes a while to collect that data. So the latest information we have are the graduates of 2012. And this is a combination of all of Brevard schools, Brevard high schools. We had in 2012, 4,147 high school graduates. They found 87%, or 3,604. And of those that were found, 44% were employed. Do we really need to prepare kids to leave high school to be employed? Yes. We found that 67%, 2,777, are continuing their education. They've moved on, they're enrolled in a post-secondary institution. Of those that are enrolled, about 1/3 are at the four-year college, the state university. 2/3 are attending a community college. And of those continuing their education, 45% are employed. So it just gives you a little bit of feel about what's happening with our kids. Well, maybe this is an anomaly for 2012. I've been looking at this data for a long time. It has not changed more than 4 or 5% anywhere during all the time I've been looking at it. And I know if we probably think everybody's going to the state university, we don't need to worry about going to work. We don't need to worry about anything except what it takes to get in a state university. So I just wanted to provide you with this information and give you the opportunity to go look for it yourself and look, and you can see several years out there and you can see what I'm talking about. The next piece of data you won't find out there because it's old, and this is the last time the state FEPPIP system did this data. Now, we're very proud. 64, 65% of our students, 67%, are continuing their education. That's great. That's the year after they graduate from high school. But the Department of Education said, where are they 10 years after they graduate from high school? And they did this research for about 5 years. The guy that was leading retired, and this research left with him. So this is the newest, even though it's old data, but I would suppose that it's probably not changed as much either. In the state of Florida, 10 years after high school graduation, still 66% of the graduates have not attained any kind of degree beyond their high school diploma. That's a shocker. And we can say, well, those aren't Brevard. I would venture to say that when I looked at the statistics back then for Brevard, it was about the same as the state. And of those that had gotten degrees, 18% with a BA. That's a four-year university. 10 years after high school graduation. 4% beyond that. So we're looking 22% of the state's graduates, 10 years after high school, have achieved a four-year degree. We all want that for our children. I know we do. We all want that. And if you look at even smaller links of educational attainment, an AA degree, 8%. A vocational credit, post-secondary adult vocational, PSAV, 2%, and the other 2% are college credit certificates. And generally those are about 12, 15 credit programs, college credit. That changes the way we think. It changes when you think and you look at the statistics. It changes and helps us understand how important career and technical education can be to not just those students that are going on to post-secondary, but to those that are also entering the workforce. I love this. I've used it for a long time. And if you can't read it, the guy goes up and he says, "You got any jobs?" And the guy says, "You got any skills?" He said, "I knew there'd be a catch." And really and truly, that's one of the problems with some of our four-year degree graduates. They still don't have skills. There are many four-year degrees that don't prepare you for any kind of employment. And I can tell you that nationally, 1 out of every 3 students that's on a community college credit earning a vocational certificate already has a bachelor's degree. In career and technical education, we are making sure that our students leave with skills. They leave with credentials. Last year, over 3,500 students took industry certification exams. This is an example. These are lists of some of the exams our students took, some of the certifications they earned. Microsoft Office Bundle, which includes passing a test in Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. Adobe, whether it's Photoshop, Flash, Dreamweaver, InDesign, Illustrator, Premiere Pro. And I can tell you, when that student's going to work while they're continuing their education or they're entering directly in the workforce, these certifications are giving them a leg up. They're providing them with opportunity to do something besides minimum wage jobs for their career or as they continue their education. We saw 44% of the kids in school are working. ServSafe Food Manager, maybe some of you know, if you work in the food booth at your school, you have to have that certification. AutoCAD, Revit, and Inventor, SolidWorks, CNA. Our CNAs can make $12 to $15 an hour working as a CNA while they continue on their education in some other allied health arena. Staff credential, that's early childhood. Every one of our graduates that wants to work is getting snatched up with that credential. A certified medical administrative assistant, and ready to work. And ready to work is something that's offered in almost all of our high schools to every senior, regardless of whether they're in a career and technical program or not. And there's 3 parts of the assessment: reading for information, applied math, and locating information. And there is a real push from employers to want to see that students have that credential. During this school year already, we've had 1,347 students earn it. And since we started doing this in 2007, we have over 10,000 students who've earned this credential. What's the value? What's the value to you as a mom or a guardian to, if once you get out of high school and you want to go take this certification? Because right now, we're offering these free to our students in our classes. If you wanted to go take any one of the Adobe certifications, you'd have to pay $475. Autodesk, you're not allowed to take AutoCAD, Revit, without receiving training and the certification for almost $2,000. GIS, that training and certification, over $2,000. Now, many of our programs offer college credit, just like API. Many of the certifications offer the ability for students to get college credit. And so when you talk about college credit, you talk of the cost of the credit plus the cost of the books that would be incurred to earn that credit. Microsoft Office Bundle is one of those that gives college credit. In addition to that, it would be $330 to take each of the tests one time, because they're $110 a piece. Our students have the ability to take the tests multiple times if they fail it, that particular one. SolidWorks, almost $600 for the training and the certification. So these are costs that are incurred through career and technical education in the district that our students and families don't have to incur. So yet another reason for children to enroll in career and technical programs. Beyond the earning of a certification, there are other benefits for career and technical. And as I stated, my personal children have benefited from these courses. So I want you to know I'm not just here preaching career and technical because that's my job. I believe in it, and I sought very diligently for my children to be able to be enrolled. Career validation. I can't tell you how many times students say, yes, this absolutely solidified that I want to be a nurse, or, oh my gosh, I had no idea this was what this was like. I'm not interested in this as a career. And when I talk to people working, I always ask, what would you say to young people entering this? How did you choose this? And many times I hear, well, I went to school to be a X. I hated it. So after 5 years and disappointing my family, I've changed careers. And so it gives students that hands-on opportunity to see if they really like it, because the only exposure we have right now to careers is what we see on the media, and if they happen to have a part-time job. Also gives them the ability to earn very valuable certifications, that practical hands-on learning, which also involves teamwork and problem solving. And those are the things that employers tell me and our teachers that they want our students to have. They really value the students that have participated in Odyssey of the Mind, future problem solving, TSA, because they know that that student is able to work with a team and solve problems. Our students get software knowledge, even if they don't pass certifications, because remember in the Microsoft Office bundle, you have to pass all 3. Some of our students pass 2. They don't get the credential of the bundle, but they do leave with some certification, even if they don't pass it. They know some software. They know how to use it. We have CTSO competitions, which is our youth organizations, HOSA, TSA, FBLA. Some of you may have heard of those. And during those competitions, they get the opportunity for leadership and communication. I already spoke of some of our courses lead to college credit. Every single one of our CTE programs has an articulation agreement with some post-secondary institution. And what that means is completing a program, generally with B's in the courses, when they enroll in the post-secondary institution and are successful after a semester, they will go back and award them college credit for courses in the program based on the CTE classes they took in high school. So we have advanced standing for every single one of our programs. All that information is available on our website if you care to go look at it. Our students that are in the academies, it's a small learning community. They get the ability to do internships. They get the ability to really gain employability skills. I can tell you there's been some walkthroughs of some of our schools, and the people that did the walkthroughs came back and said to me, you can really see the difference of the kids in the academy. It's really like a family. They have that opportunity to be a small school within a school. And lastly, they have the ability to earn the Gold Seal Scholarship. And if you're not familiar with Bright Futures, there are 3 opportunities for scholarship: the Academic, Medallion, and Gold Seal. To get Gold Seal, the first door you have to walk through is to complete 3 career and technical courses in the same program. And you have to have a 3.5 grade point average on those. So a lot of students use that for insurance, if you will, when they're looking to get the Bright Future Scholarship, because the test scores are just a little bit lower than the Medallion, and the volunteer hours are a little bit smaller. So people use that. Some of our students use that as an insurance for the scholarship. So let's go back to the beginning. Myth or fact, there isn't any vocational education in Brevard County. Yes, there is. If there's nothing that you remember from what I told you today, if there's nothing you remember, please know we do have career and technical education. It's embedded in our middle schools and high schools. So if anybody ever says to you, I don't understand why we just don't have vocational education in Brevard County, you can say, yes, we do. Vocational education is for students who do not plan on attending college. I hope you know that that is a myth. It is truly for everyone. It helps students truly understand, gives them a leg up. Vocational education is for students who can't do science and math. Absolutely not. Lots of science and math embedded in our programs. Vocational education is not for my child. My child is college bound and will be attending Harvard. And that's not true either. And I just want to read you a few comments that we've gotten from students And these are literally emails that we've received from students that have said what career and technical education has meant to them. This particular student is a student at the University of North Carolina. My study material and all of the information is a review for me because of the academy. You gave me, you've gone over professional dress, handshakes, body language, interviewing tips, etc. And I feel like I have a strong background, everything because of the academy. Joining the academy was the best decision I ever made in high school. That was a Vieira High School student. This is a Heritage High School student who is at the University of Miami, who is studying athletic training, and she said, I knew almost everything thanks to you. Literally, we're doing the exact same stuff we did in your class when I was in high school. The really cool thing is that the University of Miami athletic training program is that it's very selective. If it weren't for the sports med program at Heritage, I would be having to learn everything in all my classes for the first time, like everyone else in my cohort. I have a leg up because of the program I had in high school. Thank you for all you did for me when I was in high school. This is another Vieira High School student. I got a job because I'm Microsoft certified. I'm the only student in my FSU business class who understood the formulas that we're using, and other students are paying me to help them. This one is particularly interesting to me. It is an O'Galley student who took 1 year of AutoCAD. And he says in there, he's emailing the teacher, hey man, you remember me? I took 1 year of your class, just that introductory class, and you taught me a few 3D tools. After my few years of working at a custom car shop, and he gives the name of it, it was time for me to get a real job. So we started using AutoCAD to do some 3D design for the company and to see if he could be an asset for them. So we got a copy of SolidWorks, and the owner did, and told me if I could learn the software, there was a place for me in the office. Well, here I am, 4 years later, managing the programming department of a multi-million-dollar aerospace machining business. We've tripled our size, changed our names. I just wanted to let you know what you meant to me, and if nothing else, just catch up with you a bit. This one we just got recently from a student at Melbourne High School who said to the teacher, I was recently talking to my husband and remembering some of the things I learned in your class. It was truly a memorable and unique experience, and I wish I had taken more courses in the subject than I did, and kept in touch, and that was culinary arts. So those are real letters from real students, and I just wanted to leave you today with the message that we do have it. We want students to choose, not by chance, but to choose to be in our programs because we feel like they're very valuable. You have a question?
Hi, yes. I wanted to know when's it too late for these kids, high school kids? I'm obviously a mom who wants their children to go to post-secondary school, and when is it too late to get involved in these certifications? Most specifically, this Ready to Work, I think that's very fascinating. Do you know?
Ready to Work is over this year. We just passed the window. There's a window in October and there's a window in February. That window is set by the state, and we give that opportunity to every high school.
Okay.
The tests are free to us.
What grade would you say?
Seniors. The state only allows seniors to take it.
For the Ready to Work?
Ready to Work.
A lot of these programs take courses, so do they have to be involved in it in ninth grade? To be fair, out in the schools, once you commit to one course, they don't want to share you with another one. So I don't see a lot of overlap. And if you're going AP route, they don't necessarily share you with a certificate route. So what grades do they want to commit by? Or there is no... Students can start, actually we last year gave industry certs to our middle school students. The legislation took that away this year. It's probably going to come back. But generally students can enroll in the certification courses in the 9th grade. And they can take the certifications. They must take them at the 3rd course, the 3rd credit. But if a student is ready, like Photoshop, Dreamweaver, any of the Microsoft Office package, if the student is ready to take Word in the 9th grade, they can take that assessment.
They can take it when they're ready if the teacher deems. We purchase practice tests, and when the student has performed well enough on the practice test, they can take the test.
So if I could understand it correctly, it would be a 9th grade commitment, a 10th grade commitment, and 11th grade commitment.
It's a 3-credit commitment. Some of our students double up. For example, culinary, you take 1 credit 1 year, 2 credit block the next year, same as in allied health.
Okay.
And some of them are grade specific, like allied health, because they do the clinical. They must be by law 18, and so it's limited to seniors. Yes?
Just a quick reiteration of what you're saying. By the way, my name's Laura Canup. I'm parent educator at Jupiter Elementary, but I have 2 children that benefited from this program, one of which I'll share with you today. His name's Donnie. He did AutoCAD at Bayside. He received a scholarship for his first year in college. He started working at DRS. He went to school and worked full-time. He now has left DRS, but he works at Mainstream Engineering after completing his degree. And he bought his first house when he was 25, and he owes nothing for his college. So that's the immediate benefits of your children doing this. My daughter also is a success in this same program by taking the Microsoft. So there's huge benefits of working and being able to pay for their college at the same time, not to mention some of the scholarships they can earn.
You're absolutely right. Thank you so much for that testimony. I can tell you, I know the owner of Mainstream, and recently at a public meeting, he said, I don't want to offend anybody here, but I really don't care about AP tests. I don't care about AP classes. I want to know when I hire somebody, they have skills. I said, well, you're not offending me, but there's a mismatch with colleges because colleges expect to see AP.
I don't mean to cut off questions at the moment, but I have some students who have to present today, and I need to get them back to school. So if we could hold the questions till the end, then we will take care of
I just
anything.
wanted to make a point about how I felt there could be some 21st century leadership here. I've been looking at the South Carolina manufacturing survey on the Department of Commerce, and they have some interesting programs where they're actually surveying what manufacturers need and aligning the school districts to provide those needs, and they're doing it, fast, because that's the way things are going right now. Things are going fast, and what are we pumping through the system? A lot of things that aren't needed when they really need to be these skills over here. I mean, if you look at a resume, or a job skill, a lot of people, they're looking at, okay, what skills are needed for the jobs, and they don't have those skills because things are just changing so fast, we can hardly adapt. And that's what I'm thinking, why don't we call up Embraer and ask them, okay, well, what skills are you needing? How can we adapt? And I'm looking at South Carolina, they're doing a great job at that. And there's a reason why 700 manufacturing companies from international companies have come and decided to work in South Carolina. Why aren't we doing that?
We do actually have some groups that do things like this, and they work together, and we can get you more information on that. Don't mean to cut you off, but we do have to move on at this point.
I'll talk to you.
Thank
so
you.
much.
I'll talk to you. We have
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Our next presenter is Miss Lane Keith, who we know very well, and she has a little bit of updated information for you. Thank you.
Diana, is it already pulling up? Thank you, Pam. Diana, excuse me. Oh, I can keep clicking next.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
There you
There
go.
we are. Fantastic. Good morning. It's a pleasure to join you again today. My name is Lane Keith. I'm also a parent volunteer and happy to talk to you today regarding Brevard Save Our Students. I do see some familiar faces in the room, not only from our parent leadership team meetings, but as well from our March 7th parent volunteer meeting, which was held at Vieira High School, where we had a tremendous outpouring of support and interest in how we can support the effort to pass the half-cent sales tax. Today I'm going to be talking to you about how to inform your classmates, your parent mates, your community members, your neighbors, about how to become involved and take action in our Brevard half-cent sales tax initiative. As you may recall from our last time together, we do make up or comprised by parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, educators, small business members as well. And it also includes you. And what we're asking, as Ms. Pam Oja is passing out a handout right now that you'll be noticing, is how you can become involved with some of our very early fundraising efforts. One of the most important lessons that we learned from 2012 was that we were missing the absentee voter, we were missing the early voter, we were missing people who are taking a vested interest in how to provide support to the public education. And so this year, we're thinking about ways that we can make sure in 2014, when we go to the polls in November, how we can ensure that as many people have been reached as quickly and as efficiently as possible to ensure that everybody knows to vote yes on the half-cent sales tax. What is the surtax? The surtax is something that is a sales tax for 0.5% levied by a school board. This applies for the first $5,000 of a large purchase or regular items that you might go to Target or Walmart or other shopping centers for. By law, a surtax income is used for capital needs, which include facility repairs and renewal projects. This means that this is immediately touching your and my students. This means that it's our safety, our security, our environment where our children are going to grow and learn every single day. At this point, which is why you have that handout in front of you at this time, there is a capital fundraising need as well for us to communicate this message. We know that we're reaching an amazing group of parents and volunteers right now in this room, but we want to go even further than that. We know that you're going to take this message and take it back to your home schools and to your home communities, but there's also going to be people in our community who aren't immediately touched by a parent volunteer from a school. These could be our neighbors. They could have children who have already graduated from our public school program. These could be business owners who don't necessarily have children in a community school, but do want to make an impact on our school community. So in ways of finding ways to contact and reach out to other people, we'll be doing mailings to absentee voters, early voters. We'll be placing yard signs and roadside signs, as well as door hangers, handouts, and other community awareness types of information. All of this does in fact cost some money. And so we have designed several ways, and I'm going to pull all of these up at one time just so that for the interest of time, because I know we have students who are trying to get back to their classrooms too, of how we can actually seek your support. This will also be addressed at our next community volunteer meeting, which I'm going to ask you to write this down, is April the 7th. This is going to be taking place at the Interlochen church called Hope Episcopal in Suntree. This is located at Interlochen Road at 6 p.m. on Monday, April the 7th. That's this coming Monday. This will be an opportunity for you to become a recruited volunteer, an individual who may say, you know, I don't know if I have a business connection, but I am a really talented writer, and I would love to write an endorsement about the reason why, for example, the career and technical education system has been so beneficial. I just heard that wonderful mom talk about her scholarship and the other programs that have been entitled to her children because of their involvement with the public school system. And if we can have supportive endorsements in this format, this really helps to send a very personal message to the fact that the half-cent sales tax is important to you. We're looking for area volunteer coordinators. Perhaps you have a very strong connection in the north or the central or the south part of our community, and you would like to network with your church members or your synagogue members in ways to reach out and tell others about voting yes for the sales tax. And most importantly, we're asking for your vote yes. We do have a way to stay informed and involved. We do have a Facebook page. We are constantly growing our likes, and we ask for your help in sharing the website. Lots of people rely on social media to know more about what's happening in our community, and this is a great way as well to learn more. We do have a website. It is entitled BSOS14 for Brevard Save Our Students in the year 2014.org for updates and information. Okay, so what can you do right now? At the edge of your table, as Diana mentioned, there is a volunteer sign-up document. This is a great opportunity for you to say, I have incredible skills in the way of communication. I have incredible ways in the form of marketing. I love organizing golf events. I love golfing. These are all fabulous ways for you to get involved and for us to share in our community how you can help to pass the sales tax. Mark April 7th on your calendar and attend our meeting to be held at the Hope Episcopal Church at 6 p.m. in Century, and tell your neighbor or a friend about the half-cent sales tax. As I mentioned in the beginning of our talk, we are fundraising for this effort too. $100,000 does not come simply and easily. So I'm asking if you'll even consider going onto our website and making a donation to help spread the word about the importance of voting yes on the half-cent sales tax. Also in your packet, you'll find a take action document. I would be more than happy to collect those. You may keep those at the end of your table, and I will collect those at the end of today's meeting. That has a multitude of opportunities that may have piqued your very own interest. I believe that's a lavender color or a pink color document as well. That's another great way for you to say, I love writing, I love communicating, I love calling my friends and telling them to vote yes as well. I would be remiss if I didn't remind everybody to go out and vote on November 4th when it is time to vote yes for the sales tax. Maybe you'll be an early voter, maybe you'll be an absentee voter, but I hope most of all you'll be a voter. I want to thank you all very much for your attention to today's presentation. On your handout from Ms. Pam Oja, you do have your Golf-a-thon event, which is taking place at Duran Golf Course. It is an all-day event. It has been likened to a relay type of an event. So this is going to be for your par 3 golfers, your scratch golfers, your new at this golfer, and this is a great opportunity for you to learn more about the Brevard Save Our Students initiative and to vote yes on the sales tax in November. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a wonderful afternoon.
Good morning. We recently held an essay contest. We opened it up to our students in middle and high school, and we wanted them to write an essay about a powerful parent involvement event in their life, family involvement, and how important their parents and their family members are to them. And we had many, many submissions, and it was so hard to pick our winners. But we do have our 3 winners here today, and we would like them to come up and introduce themselves, and then take a moment to read their essay to you all. And we promise that there will be goosebumps as they're reading, as we had when we were reading them. So we hope that you enjoy it. Our first person up is Jair. Did I say it correctly? Jair. I'm sorry. I apologize. That's why we had them introduce themselves, so they can say it properly.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jair Johnson. I go to Bayside. I'm a junior. And this essay, the reason why I wrote it is because it means a lot to me. Many people don't understand what a family is anymore. And so, of course, having the $100 is nice, but it's a bigger meaning behind writing this. In the world today, the importance of the family system has become underappreciated. The family structure has been changed into one of constant separation, as many families hardly get the chance to have the quality time with each other due to a tedious schedule that is time-consuming and exhausting. With the demands of society, many families become detached as a result of having the sufficient amount of quality time with each other. Spending quality time with my family has helped me to realize and how to develop as a person, physically and mentally. I've learned about the importance of relationship, and with that relationship, I have learned the many valuable lessons that I have today. Spending quality time with my family has taught me the true meaning of being loyal to others. Ever since I was a little kid, I'll never forget throwing a football with my dad. This was symbolic in my life because it was emotional, and it was cool. My dad and I were throwing a football in our front yard, but more importantly, we were enjoying each other's company. The fact that he was playing football with me when he could have been anywhere else really meant a lot to me. Working 8 hours a day, my dad came home and got dressed to spend quality time with me. By doing this, I learned the importance of being loyal. My dad played sports with me, and he spent his valuable time with me to support me in my interest of sports and be active in my life. Not only by doing this, I learned a lot, and just him being there helped me out. More importantly, his time with me displayed that he would always have my back. He was an encouraging factor in helping me to grow up because I knew that if I ever got into trouble, I would be able to consult him for advice and be encouraged to do the right thing and make the right decision in whatever I do. He was an encouraging factor. I would always be able to consult him. The time that I spent with my dad playing football and basketball and other sports taught me the importance of being there for others. I learned that in order to maintain a good relationship, support, loyalty, and encouragement are vital. To this day, whatever I work at, with others or with myself or with my friends, I strive to be as supportive and as loyal as possible because I know how important it is to be supportive and loyal. Another value that I learned from spending time with my family was making the smartest decision possible in a given situation. Eating with my parents and sisters at the breakfast table, the dinner table, or the lunch table is a very big part of my life. At the table, we could discuss any problem. We could talk about our day. We can give proper help or advice. I remember when I was struggling in math in the 5th grade, and I described this at the dinner table one time long ago because getting bad grades is not acceptable in my family, or to me. And I described that I was stuck. I did not know what to do or how to move forward. And basically, I just had problems with math. As I discussed this problem, both my parents and my older sister guided me to the path of studying, seeking extra help in developing a harder work ethic. Even though I got a D that semester, which didn't turn out well for me, I still learned the value of how to do things better. I learned that in order to work at what you have, you gotta work at it. You gotta put the work in to do better. Every time we sat down at the dinner table, my parents would ask about my math, and eventually I improved from that D to a high B. Eating with my family was a great way to seek counsel. My sisters and I knew that we could get some great advice to any questions, even if we didn't tell them the exact question we threw at each other, especially my parents. We knew that by asking various questions, and the questions that I asked, the questions that they asked, I gained knowledge on how to properly make a good decision based off the circumstances of a situation. I learned the importance of never giving up by spending time with my family. I can recall when I was first learning how to ride my bike back in Bonefish Circle, Washington. My mother was telling me what to do on a stool while I was riding a bike without training wheels. I struggled at first. I learned how to ride a bike with training wheels, and then taking training wheels off made for a struggle. When the training wheels were removed, I struggled for a very long time. I would fall over, I'd get frustrated, and my mom would tell me to try and try again. And I didn't want to, but I kept on trying and trying again, even though it consisted of lots of scrapes and falling on. This lesson took me a long time to realize, but I was constantly being told to get up and try again. Eventually, I got the hang of bike riding, and I remember my mom saying something along the lines, in order to learn something, you have to keep on trying until you properly get the hang of what you're trying to do. The same philosophy will apply to anything that I did, especially when I read I Spy with my grandmother. I was conditioning to search for the objects on a page without giving up. Even though it was fun, it was a way of learning how to properly look for something and give time to that something. My mom and my grandmother taught me the importance of never giving up, and to this day, on whatever I do, basketball, schoolwork, or anything, I never give up. One of the most important lessons that I learned from my family was the importance of being a role model. This lesson took me the longest to learn, and still does because I'm not the best role model. Whenever my grandmother visited, she would always stress the importance of being a leader to those who looked up to me. And at the time, I didn't understand. I'd be like, what are you saying? Because I never understood what she was trying to tell me directly. My parents taught me how to be responsible. My sisters taught me how to be a better person, and I had to adapt to many of my old ways to be a role model, not to only my family, but to others. I learned proper manners whenever we ate out as a family. Whenever my family took vacations, my parents always taught me how to conduct myself, accordingly and use good judgment. This in turn helped me to be a better example for my family and others. But not only that, it taught me that being a role model is what helps move other people and helps other people to see the good in themselves by seeing it in other people. The impact that I have from spending quality time with my family is huge. It is impacting my life in a very positive way. Eating, playing sports, watching sports, learning, relaxing together with my family has helped me to develop as a person. Everything that I have experienced with my family has taught me lifelong values that will help me for the rest of my life. Being there as a family means more than just being present. It's not just sitting there and being with your family and just being there with each other's company. It's more than that. It's coming together as a family, making action, and taking the initiative that it takes to get over something. It is the coming together of a family to make every family member flourish and be able to spread invaluable attributes that will be remembered and recognized for a very long time. And that's the end of my speech and essay.
Thank you so much for your story, and we have a check for $100 and a certificate for you. Thank you very much.
I got to bring it back down to my size. I promised you guys goosebumps, and I'm sure you just had them. So we would like to bring up our next essay winner. Again, another fantastic glimpse into how important you guys are in the lives of your children. So Robbie, would you come up next, please?
Hello, my name is Robbie Breininger. I come from West Shore Junior Senior High School, and I'm going to read my essay that I submitted into this contest. I've heard over the years of the story of my great-grandmother. Her name was Jenny, and when she was 40 years old, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. She had 5 children, ranging from 2 to 15 years old, and she was 6 months pregnant. Jenny's choice was to protect her unborn child rather than to risk the drugs offered, as there was no guarantee that they were safe in the 1940s. She died when her new son was 6 months old. This left a deep hole in her family. My great-grandfather worked constantly, and the older children had to care for the younger. My grandmother was 11 years old, and even though that she is in her 80s, she has never recovered from the loss of her mother and the family life as she knew it. The rippling effect of this tragedy touched each member of the family, and they were affected in different ways. One leaving to never return home, and the other to have lifelong anxiety issues. They were all scarred for the rest of their lives. I feel sorrow when I think about how the young family did not have help in their grief and how that their lives were forever changed. It stresses me the importance of spending time together while we can and making the most of each other. We have done activities as a family throughout my life, and I have learned so much from that. No one particular moment seems extraordinary in my life with my family because there's so many moments throughout my life that have impacted me. I have learned from my family that time together is vital, as life is so short that in an instant things can change. We have always had family time looking for things to do that do not require standing for two hours for a 3-minute ride and spending hundreds of dollars in the process. We have a tradition of walking on the beach at least once every weekend and much more during spring break. It's a good time to reflect on things, and I believe it's not for the exercise as much as it's good for our souls. During these walks, we have seen daylight turtles hatching, dolphins, sharks, and rays off the shoreline, and also have realized that human impact is often to the detriment of our beautiful beach. Trash is often piled up, and much of it comes from the cruise ships dumping in our ocean. We love to kayak cocoa beaches, thousand islands, and look for terrapins and other wildlife and we have noticed a change in the river and feel sad that it may be dying. We have researched the reasons and realized that much of it is caused from pollution from our fellow man, who may or may not realize what they're doing. These experiences with my family have shaped my life's purpose. I want to protect these waters and this wonderful environment. I have walked the scrubland with my brothers and my parents many times and appreciated the beauty of the scrub and the animals that live there. I have helped my dad band Florida scrub jays for many years, and we have been with him following scrub jays almost on a weekly basis since we could walk. We have had the opportunity to learn and love all that our beautiful county has to offer. I have learned to recognize that we as a society must all work together to stop creating havoc on our local environment and to help preserve it for other families and for children who have not yet had the opportunities to discover the wonders around them. I do not have a large family. My mom is from England, so most of my relatives live abroad, and my dad is an only child. However, I do not feel lacking in any way, although having a lot of cousins would be a blast. For me, 2 brothers is certainly a crazy and fun time in our household. We have always tried to volunteer as much as we could, and our parents have always stressed the importance of giving back. Using my time to help others is fulfilling to me, and I hope that I am, in a small way, making an impact. My brothers and I have done hundreds of hours each year as Brevard Zoo Teens and as Boy Scouts. I am currently working on my Eagle project that involves building a kayak ramp on the Fox Lake Conservation Area in Titusville. It was important to me to pick this project as we have spent, as a family, many hours kayaking, and I wanted to make it easy for others to have the experience of our natural environment. I believe the importance of spending quality time with my family has had a huge impact on me. I think that family time gives me a sense of security and confidence that helps me achieve my goals and reach out to others around me. A friend of mine has no parental guidance, yet he amazes me that he strives to do what he can to achieve in school and go to college. I believe that my friend will likely be a great parent even though life is not easy for him now, yet his amazing inner strength has helped him. I think I also have an inner strength, but have been fortunate enough to head down the road of my future with the helping hands of my family, encouraging and nurturing me on the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Robbie. Appreciate you sharing your story with us. Robbie earned a $75 check and a certificate as well.
Again, goosebumps, and amazing that the insight that these young people have. And they're not always the best at communicating how much they appreciate their parents, but when we have opportunities like this, for them to write it and then for them to speak it out loud has got to be the most amazing thing as a parent to hear it. That all that hard work, all those sacrifices that you make, they do appreciate it and they do realize it. And as he said, he thinks it's going to help him as he grows up, not just as an adult, but as a parent in the future. Last but not least, Miss Claudia is here for us to read her essay as well. Welcome.
Thank you. I go to Vieira. I'm high school right across the street. I'm a sophomore, and I wrote this essay because it's just always been easy for me to talk about my family, and when I saw this opportunity, I thought I would go for it. As human beings, we crave a sense of security and acceptance. Sure, that feeling can be found in friends, coworkers, or even a counselor, but this certain form of love is only found in certain people, certain related people. Plus, it's never quite the same environment receiving this attention from anyone else but family. We feel that closeness, we feel love, and feel affection because we receive that from a very young age. From who? Family. There's no greater feeling of belonging and unique identity than one with your family, because those are the individuals that no matter what will always stick by your side to catch you when you fall or cheer you in your triumph. I will be the first to admit no family is perfect, and I won't sit here and say mine is by any means. Like every family, we've had our fair share in disagreements, and that's normal. But from these disputes, I've picked up on how to handle certain situations, which has helped me not only mature in my teenage years, but how to truly appreciate and realize the most important people that will take place in my life. Although my family's definition of quality time isn't going on vacation or extreme family getaways, we always manage to enjoy one another's company in any activity we participate in together. Activities such as Sunday morning, after church lunches, or movie nights. The simplicity of just enjoying one another's company has helped me maintain a relaxed, down-to-earth attitude. This is one of my favorite attributes, and I hope to maintain this forever. That way I can enjoy great adventures, but also be content with a simple movie night with popcorn. Every family has certain traditions and customs depending on their culture. Going on a more broad, extended part of my family comes my uncles, aunts, and cousins. I've decided I'd add a little bit more than the basic mom, dad, brother, sister type deal. Because my extended family has played such an important role in my life, it would feel extremely strange and rude of me not to mention them. I come from a Latin Peruvian family, and never will I be ashamed to state that. We are very intelligent and above all love family. Since my mom and dad are divorced, I've always sought a male figure to look over me in my uncles and was never disappointed. I cannot remember a dull moment I've ever had with my uncles, and they treat me like their own and love me to pieces as I do. I've always felt I can express myself openly to them and never feel judged or looked down upon. They've seen me at my worst and at my greatest. Lastly comes my siblings. I am the youngest of 4. There is no better word to describe them than acceptance. Each one of them has a little piece of me that will never die down. Each one shares a special bond that will never be replaced. They've provided me not only with a safe place to ventilate my feelings and personal problems, but the reassurance that someone will always be there to provide me with an "it'll be all right." Hearing those words from the right people really does guarantee comfort. If any time I felt no one understands and I'm the only one in the world feeling this way, they've never failed to assure me they've been through the same dilemma and understand completely. No one likes feeling alone in impossible situations, and having someone that's as close as family help you along the way, that's the best kind of arm around your shoulder you could possibly get. I wouldn't trade the experience of ups and downs with my family for the world. They're the people who have gave me a base from which to develop, to express myself in whatever way I feel, whatever way I please, and to place all my trust in and know I'll get nothing less, if not more, than what I put in. They provided me with encouragement and a solid self-esteem that I will take with me my whole life, and always remember the people who provide me with unlimited support and comfort in any decision I make for myself.
Thank you, Claudia. Here's your certificate and your $50 check. Thank you. Thank you, 3, for coming, and your parents. We really, really appreciate it. We had lots of great entries, and you 3 were chosen as the best of the 3, so we appreciate it. We're going to get a picture of you in the hall in just a few minutes, okay? Next on the agenda, Miss Ginger Blair.
Good morning. It's not really fair of me to have to follow all those amazing children, but I'll do my best. I'm here today to talk to you guys about a program that may not pertain to each of you, but it will probably pertain to someone you know. It's called the Legacy Club, and it's a new program that we started this school year. First off, has anyone heard of it at all? Oh, good, a couple hands. What it is it's a program that we have for individuals in our community 55 and older. And some of you might be thinking to yourself, I hope to God by the time they're 55, they've graduated from high school or, gone on, right? So, but yes, they have. But the thing is that as you notice, as we hear these folks talk about their grandparents and their extended family, there's an opportunity for us to connect some of these individuals that are 55 and older that may have grandchildren in the district. They may be raising their grandchildren. They may have no family here, but just have an interest in what the schools are doing. And there's an opportunity to connect those people with our students. So what we did is we created Legacy Club. And it has a couple of things I'm going to tell you about real quick. One of the things that our members so far really love is the opportunity to get free or reduced admission to Brevard Public School events. So what happens is if I'm 55 or older and I come and I go to a school, I go to one of the area offices, I come here and I sign up and I get one of these lovely little membership cards. And then with that, depending on my age, if I'm 55 to 64, I get a gold card. That allows me $2 off when I go to any Brevard Public School event. If I'm 65 or older, I've hit the jackpot and I get in for free. And these cards are good for things like football games, lacrosse games, soccer games, the plays at our schools, chorus concerts, band concerts, all those things. And we all know as parents that, they can sometimes get pricey. Well, now these folks that may not have normally come to these events can come for $2 off or for free. So that's a big plus because it fills up our seats. It gets a group of people involved in our community. We have a group of men who are Platinum members. Every week, they figure out what the best game of the week is for football, and they go to that game. And now they go for free. It's something they would have never done before. I have a group of ladies that I think has seen every play that every high school here has put on. And they love it. Another great thing for these members is that they also get access to what we call our lecture and learning series. So we've decided that even at 55, there's still lots of things you can learn, and we've got folks to teach them. So what happens is you'll see when you leave, if you want to grab one, you're welcome to. We have classes that we offer every month. There's about 8 to 10 classes on a calendar, and they're everything from computer classes to travel classes to cooking classes to art classes, you name it, and we probably have a class. These legacy members can go to these classes completely for free, and they can learn all these different skills. A lot of them, especially some of our computer classes and things like that, they love because it's things that maybe they don't know, and they don't feel comfortable going to a big class or paying $50 to go to a computer class. So they can do these things for free. They're all over the county, and they change every month, and like I said, we have about 10 a month. The best part about these classes is while some are taught by community members, like our travel class or our art class, a lot of them are taught by our very own students. So as Ms. Janice was talking about the Career and Technical Education Program, our Business Academy students at Vera High and Mel High have been teaching these Legacy Club members computer skills, and they've also been giving them something called Tech Talk, where you bring in your smartphone or your laptop or your iPad, and they show you what to do. And I know a lot of us are probably thinking, can we sign up too? Can we lie about our age and go sign up? But it's an amazing experience for these folks because a lot of them literally walk in with an iPhone and say, I don't know how to use it, what do I do? And by the time they leave, they've learned more than most of us know with our smartphones. So it's a great opportunity for them to see a side of our students that they may not always see. They see these brilliant young minds that can help them learn things. And it gives those students an opportunity to get some real-world experience at teaching a group of people that aren't just like them. It's one thing to go teach your peers or to present in front of your teacher, but it's a whole other thing to present in a classroom full of individuals 55 and older that you've never seen before. And to help that generation understand something that's second nature to you, but maybe difficult to them. We've gotten amazing feedback on this program. And right now, again, program is completely free. It's not something that the school district is paying. We're not putting our own money into it. We have corporate sponsors, Long Doggers, Sam's Club, and a financial company called Valak. They're supporting this program for us. But the best part is it's free to all these individuals. We have about 2,500 members now, and the feedback that we're getting is amazing. We have one, I'll tell you 2 really fast things. We have one person who came with her phone, and she was quite sure that we were going to teach her something, but she just didn't think we were going to be able to fix her biggest problem. Something to do with an account or something with an iPhone. I'm not an iPhone user, so it was kind of Greek to me too. A young 16-year-old who was sort of the shyest one in the group got us sort of assigned to her to sit down with her and help her. And like right in the middle of the class, it's all quiet. All of a sudden I hear her go, hallelujah. We're like, what? Well, it turns out that she had been to the phone company. She had been to the electronics store where she'd bought the phone. No one could fix her problem. And this 16-year-old little shy boy had fixed her problem. She told him that if she was an employer and she could hire him right there, she'd hire him on the spot. And apparently, from what I hear from his teacher, that just did worlds for his confidence. And he just like all day long was just walking like, 6 feet tall. We had another young lady who came out, and I asked her what she thought about having to teach these, what we might call senior citizens, phone skills. And she said, I really didn't think I'd be good at it. I'm not a good teacher, but it was really easy, and they're so supportive. And she says, and the best part is, she says, I don't have any grandparents. They've all passed away. And she said, so I would never have an opportunity to interact with people like this if I didn't have this opportunity. So we see where it's really, really a win-win for everyone. Again, if you sign up, if you know someone that's 55 and older, have them sign up for free. Again, they can go to a school, they can go up here to the area offices or to the school board, or they can call me on the phone. I have had quite a many long conversations with a Legacy Club member on the phone and signing them up. When they sign up, they'll get this little newsletter every month that'll tell them what's going on. They'll also get emails from me telling them what's going on. I'm also a bit of a concierge. I feel a little bit like Julie, the cruise director, because if they call me and ask me for the Viera lacrosse schedule, I'm going to find it for them so they can go to the games. So it's a really great opportunity to get these folks involved. We would love to have your support in spreading the word and letting folks know. The program runs September to September, so we are kind of getting close to finishing up this year, but that's okay. Again, since it's free, it doesn't really matter when you sign up. And then we'll renew those folks for next year and have new classes and new opportunities for them. So anyway, like I said, if you know anyone 55 or older, if you've got parents out there or you have friends, grandparents raising their children, grandchildren, or you know anyone, please tell them to sign up so that they can find out about how they can get involved and, learn about how great our kids are in our schools and how wonderful our schools are. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, yeah, I have 3 questions.
Yes.
I think 3. The first is the classes that are being taught to the Legacy Club people.
Yes.
Is that during school hours or is it during, on a Saturday?
They're usually during the school week. Now, some of them are not obviously taught by students, but we polled the Legacy Club members, and they like to have them Monday through Friday when it's not dark. So that's when we have them.
Okay.
So when we have them at the school, they actually go to the school. We don't pull the kids away from their class and make them drive somewhere. They actually come to the school and teach in that classroom.
Okay, so it would be after school or during?
During the school hours.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
they actually for example, at Vera High, they teach it from 9 to 10. So it's actually, instead of going to their regular academy class, they're teaching this class with their academy teacher there. Does that make
That
sense?
answers the next question.
Sorry.
I was wondering if the students were able to get volunteer hours for doing this, which some may.
Technically, because they're in school,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
but I'm working on trying to create a volunteer program with all of the assisted living homes so they can give us their volunteer opportunities, and then we can match those up with students, because ironically, I happen to be the volunteer coordinator too, so that works good. So I am working on something like that to get them some, extra volunteer hours for other things they might do.
And then the third point is maybe some of these Legacy Club members
Mm-hmm.
could tutor in other areas for the students, give back in that way.
Right, and that's another thing that we're doing is working with them. We just had a volunteer
Thank you.
fair to show them about volunteering, ways to volunteer, so we're getting some of them to sign up to be our volunteers as well. Good questions. Yes, ma'am.
Can you be specific on how we would sign up people? I work at a school, and
Yes.
I wouldn't know how to do that for someone.
Yes, and I
who-
apologize. I kind of cut it short since we're running on time. What they do is basically they have an application. I didn't bring one up here, but there are some that are going to be at the table. It's a paper application. They would be asked to fill that application out. There's a couple of ways. They can go online to the website and fill it out there, and it will email it to me. They can call me, and I can take it over the phone. Or if they go to a school, they'll go to the front offices. And all the front offices have been made aware. They've been given applications and cards. They can either bring one in, they print it out, or they can come in and say, I need to fill out an application. It's very short, so it doesn't take them maybe 5 minutes. And then at that point, at a school, they would actually be handed a card. The cards actually have a spot for their name. So that's all the person would have to do at the school would be take the application, write their name on it, hand them the card, and then they mail me the application. Because I actually have a database of all these members. And so that's how I know that we have 2,500. All the schools have those cards, yes. Some of them, have gotten a better reception than others. A lot of times the high schools are the biggest ones because those people know they want to go to those events for free. Anything else? All righty, well, thank you very much. And I'll have some applications and some of the April calendars of classes over there. And then if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks, guys.
Under the Community Relations tab on the Brevard County Schools website, there's a Legacy Club link right there. So if you're looking for it on the website, that's where you would go. Okay, now here's Dr. Bingley.
Sticking with that theme, who's here from Rockledge High? Anybody? All right. You didn't by chance have kids singing yesterday, did you? Okay. I was yesterday at Merritt Island Square Mall. There was actually something called an intergenerational conference. A lot of John Anderson, who I think heads up AARP, and a lot of senior citizens were at the mall, and over 100 of our kids from Rockledge High were singing. And when I say they were beautiful, they were beautiful. I think Howard Tipton, county manager, said the average age in Orlando is 50, or I'm 35. The average age in Brevard is 50. So I'm not helping us, in case you want to know. I really don't have a lot today. In fact, until I looked at the board update this morning, I was just going to open the floor for questions, and I still will in about 5 or 10 minutes. But the board update is something that we do every Friday. And it's designed to just kind of let the board know, hey, there's some things going on in the district that we want to make you aware of, right? Most school districts would have something like that, and that's what we call a board update. Well, let me back up. We have a strategic plan, like everybody. And like everybody, one of our goals, our school board goals, if you will, is student achievement, right? Who doesn't have a large strategic objective that's called student achievement? Well, when I came here, I said to the board, okay, but we created something called operational expectations. In other words, we said to the board, here are the things that we believe we should be really focusing on, because student achievement can mean a lot of things, right? We want to narrow down to the four. We had 4 operational expectations, and we said to the board, if you agree with those, then we will go forward and create strategies and metrics on how we're going to evaluate our success and that kind of thing. And just so you know, those 4 are, we want our kids to maximize their core area achievement. Yes, we know that our students have to be successful in reading and math and science and social. We know we're going to measure that a lot with some FCAT and some other things. But there are 3 other operational expectations. One is that we are going to close achievement gaps for our kids. And the third is that we are going to focus on making sure we deliver quality non-core area opportunities and programs so that our kids get a well-rounded education. We drew a line in the sand and said we will focus on that. And the final thing is that we will help our kids acquire 21st century skills. We're going to help them be collaborative. We're going to help them communicate. We're going to help them problem solve. We're going to help them think critically. Those are the 4. Just if you didn't know that, when we created them, we took them out through our schools, through our SAC committees. We say, do these things make sense to you? And then once they were approved, I think you know we've stayed on top of some of those things, because I've come to this group and I've shared with you a lot of data related to our kids' performance in really all of those areas, closing achievement gaps and non-core areas. So I say that because here I was at about 7 this morning, and I was approving our Friday board update items. Okay, just the stuff that is going to go to the board. Let me share with you 4 of them that were in this. Here you go, board. Here's some stuff that's going on. There was recently held, 48 high schools were involved in the Florida State Spanish Conference. Astronaut High School, anyone here from War Eagle land? No? They represented us, and so they go there, and their dramatic presentation received the highest score in the entire thing. And on the senior exam, one of our seniors from Astronaut received the highest score on that and got a $200 scholarship. That's the science, or the Spanish. So then I get the state French Congrès competition. Anyone French? Did I pronounce that right? Congrès? Well, then you don't know, so I did. Anyway, so West Shore goes to that, and they win the overall state championship. There are over 1,000 kids from the state of Florida at the French Congrès. And then they have a Brain Bowl team that wins the state championship. Dennis Sobolewski, he is our CTE resource teacher. And he was recently awarded the Distinguished Technology and Engineering Professional Award by the International Technology and Engineering Educators Association at their conference. Dennis is a quiet guy, but you know, I went to the regional robotics competition a week or so ago, and there he was. Yesterday, I was at Heritage High School. I walk into an AutoCAD class, and there he was, right? There's a reason why Dennis Sobolewski received this honor. And by the way, the robotics competition, if you've never been to one of those, my goodness. I watched, you know, an hour and a half or so. You saw in the paper, our kids, and these kids come from all over the southeastern United States and Brazil, and there were several nations that were there. I watched one, if you ever watch them, they actually, there's all these teams, and your team will be in a team of 3 robots, and then you compete against 3 other robots. And they're all just, you know, it's random, right? And so I stayed there long enough to make sure I saw every Brevard robot in action at least once. But one of these games, it was 2 Brevard robots and then someone else, okay? The someone else, their robot never moved. And that sometimes happens. There's a glitch that the programming didn't work. Literally, in the entire 3-minute contest or whatever, never moved, right? So we got one arm tight. The other 2, the 2 Brevard robots absolutely obliterated the other team. It was maybe the most lopsided score I saw while I was there. So at the end of that competition, one of our teams wins, but some team from Orlando messed up and didn't follow the rules, and they got disqualified. And so it went to the second place team, who was one of ours too. So the pink team who got disqualified, you know, they took it way better than the average adult would. I mean, they got cheated, and they said, well, there's another regional, we'll go compete, and that's what they're going to do. So finally, on this board update, the Orlando Science Center Challenge recently held, and that brings, and this is the physical science, they don't even include biological sciences, but they bring the best middle and high school physical science-related projects from Brevard, Lake, Marion, Orange, Osceola, Polk, Seminole, Sumter, and Volusia. Our kids won 56% of the awards. 56%. And they represented 6 different schools, so it wasn't like one powerhouse school. My point is this. This was just Friday morning, board update. I'm reading this and I'm thinking, wow, you know, there's like some press release stuff in here. And so I you know, made sure that we wanted to connect some of this with Michelle. But I guess we're so used to, our kids just do well. I mean, this is stuff that places would sing from the rafters. We're putting them in a Friday morning board update. By the way, board, just in case you want to know, our kids were the best in the Spanish competition. They were best in the French competition. They kicked butt at the robotics competition. We have the guy represented by an international organization as a distinguished technology educator. And by the way, our kids won over half the awards at the Central Florida Science competition. Next Friday, I'll let you know what else is going on. So I just, with that, I will open the floor to any questions you have, but I just can't stand here and be more proud of what our kids do. You know, we listen to these essays, we hear how they're, helping our Legacy Club members. I watched them perform yesterday for some real Legacy Club members. Just believe me when I tell you that. I read this, I'm just immensely proud of what happens on a day-to-day basis for children. And so with that, I really don't have anything else. Oh, anyone have any questions? I'll answer them. Come on to the, as best I can.
I was just wondering if you publish this board update to the world, around here to share in the success.
We really don't. I mean, it truly is a document that is meant just internally, and there were several other items that I didn't bring to you today, but I just was struck that these are so positive. But okay. Any other questions about anything else? Really? Oh, okay. Come on. They love you.
I just want to publicly thank you for Sable Elementary's new roof.
The new roof, right?
It is bright, it's white, it's shining.
Wait a minute now. I would love to tell you it's a new roof. It's not. Well, it is a coating that, but yes.
It's a coating, it's bright, the mold-looking black stuff is gone.
I got it.
It's beautiful.
It
It's
is.
beautiful, and I know, operating within the budget constraints, we did the best we could.
It is long
And we're
overdue.
happy. But I just want you to know, I'm working on my next project.
Thank you. Hey, we replaced the pipes there too, by the way. Of course, water was bubbling up through the floor, so that was something. Yeah. Any other questions or comments or whatever? I'll do the best I can to.
I don't have a question, just a comment. For those parents who have children in elementary school, my youngest is graduating.
From elementary school.
From high school.
From high school.
It goes by quickly, very quickly. I can't thank Brevard Public Schools enough for the education she's received. We all get a little worked up over the small stuff. Don't lose sight of the big stuff. We have great kids. Thank you for what you do.
We have great kids. We have some of it. Yeah, I tell some people, folks will say these knuckleheads and, what's wrong with these kids? There's nothing wrong with it. They give back more to this community than my class ever did, and it's not even close. It's not even close. Those kids yesterday singing, they knew why they were there, and they were proud to be there. Now, they love singing, and that's a good thing. Soloists, that's courage. But thank you for that. I appreciate it.
On the subject of arts programs, I have two children that are over at Space Coast, junior, senior high, and we have struggled with, they are both very, very talented musicians, but we have basically feel like we've been excluded from the music program because it is a requirement for them to take high school band to be in the marching band.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a requirement of several $100s in fees and time. And I've always felt like why do we have a class in school that has a requirement of that much money and time invested outside of school? I mean, it turns away so many kids. And they say, well, we can fundraise, but that fundraising is not for their fees. It's for other things.
Right.
So there's still, that. And my son is absolutely flat out said he's the best trumpet player they have. And he said, I will not be in the band because I am not going to do marching band. And my daughter, who was an outstanding, she was in the Brevard, when they do the full county, she made first chair in bass clarinet. And she said, I will not do marching band. And of course, for me, I'm like, I don't have $400 to put into it anyway. So
Yeah.
Why is that a requirement?
Yeah, it is not a new issue. It comes up. I will tell you, it's come up in the last 4 districts I've worked in because it's been pretty much the way it is. All I can do is bring it back. to our folks, bring our high school principals together, and say, you know, this came up at a parent leadership meeting. Want to examine it and give an explanation as to, I mean, I know the explanation is that they have to have enough kids march, but all I can do is bring the question back around. I mean, I don't have it for you. I know
it is something that the schools vote on, that they decide amongst themselves. It's not a...
No, it's a practice that I think is universal in all of our high schools. But I'll find out. I can't, I might confess to you, there's no policy that requires it. It's just something that we have done universally. I don't think there's a high school in here that doesn't have that rule. I will find out. And say, and you're from Space Coast, right?
Yes.
Okay. Come on. All this time, you know.
We never have time.
I know.
I was curious to know, as far as the Common Core goes, where are we at with that and finding out how it's going to be corrected? You know, how they're going to grade that.
Yeah.
That's my biggest concern. I know with FCAT it's so much easier, but now you're looking at the responses being so much longer. How are they going to grade that?
Yeah. Well, some of those actually, for one thing, the writing is gone. There is no writing test once we go to the Common Core. That gets embedded in the other tests. Some of those longer response are actually, they can be, I forget what they call it. It's not computer scored, but it's something that others, there are, in fact, human beings. And in fact, the commissioner just made us aware, if there's a certain amount of disagreement between a computer and a human being, then they go back to the human being. The tests themselves are going to be slightly longer, not a lot though. It's like 8 minutes or something of that nature. So it isn't a ton of time, but they will be longer. You probably saw that AIR was selected as the company that would create the test. We haven't seen the test. It has been field tested in the state of Utah. I mean, now, the guy in Miami-Dade is right now calibrating. I got more ESOL kids than in all of Utah. But when you say field test, in other words, the items that are on the test have been field tested with real live kids, and you know, are there problems with a particular question? Do you look for bias in those questions? So that answers the question, how can you just launch into this test in Florida without having done field testing? They have done field testing of these items. The Florida standards are very close to Common Core. You know, in fact, some of the people who are very anti-Common Core, they're upset that we didn't go completely away from them. In fact, we didn't move terribly far. Some minor changes and call them Florida standards. That's the best way I can describe it. I would say to you, the real kind of purpose of having our kids think at greater depth, have to pull various pieces of information together to solve more complex problems, that still lives on. So we don't face the challenge like Indiana right now. They got all the way, they were all trained up, coached up, they were delivering Common Core, and their state eliminated it, and they don't know what's coming. And so they're going to create their own Indiana standards. They've been spending 3 years preparing teachers for Common Core standards that now they're bailing on.
I thought that the whole reason for Common Core was for every state to do the same thing.
Correct.
So that if you move from one state
Correct.
to another, there's not going to be any
Hatched
deviation.
originally by the governors who had that mission. It just got derailed by a very politicized agenda, to be very candid with you. But I guess we're moving forward in a way that the training we've done for our teachers is not wasted. It's been very good. The curriculum or the standards themselves will not require us to make real curricular changes. I feel pretty good about, from a standards perspective, where we are. We've yet to see the test that will come, and that's next year. Now, just so everybody knows, there's a little bit of worry in that we will deliver the test next year in the spring. They will get the results back, and then and only then will they set the benchmarks for what is an A, what is a B, what is a C, what is a D. Now, on the one hand, people would say, well, yeah, you really shouldn't do that till you have the results. The other worry is, though, the state board and the legislature have had a propensity to say, we got to have less A's and B's. And obviously, when you have the results, you can make them say what it is you want them to say. And so that is how it is going to roll. And so I'll make you aware of that.
Okay, now, with that being said, that'll be done next year with
Yes.
the Common Core, that new test. So now we still stick with FCAT.
This year, nothing has changed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the phase in and phase out, that's what concerns me, and the burden. Is there an overload burden on the teachers? Because I see it with the teachers and the teachers and
Yeah.
students. It's like,
Right.
all this coming down. Well, Mom, we got
Yeah.
FCAT, and then we got the Common
Yeah.
Core coming up. It just seems like there's so much.
Right. We've worked to crosswalk that for our teachers. I mean, you guys have to understand, we've told them really, get ensconced and work into Common Core, because that's where we're heading. And we'll do what we need to do. There's not a ton. The commissioner basically answers this, because superintendents were asking this months ago. Hey, she basically says, there's like an 89% overlap. I mean, you're teaching one, you're teaching the other, we're okay. For this year and last year, really, it's been a challenge. And next year, we're all in.
It just seems that the morale has dropped a bit, and we're asking so much more of our teachers. We have phenomenal teachers in Brevard.
I understand.
And, it's just, I hate to go and ask them anything, to overstep what they're already doing.
All I can tell you is our resource teachers have done really as good as anywhere, I think, that I've seen in trying to help teachers with crosswalk documents and that kind of stuff. I mean, but everybody out there is wrestling with this alligator. I mean, and until the changeover comes, you have this.
Okay, and my final question is about Edline. Will that be staying on? Because I noticed a drop in that participation as well. And that's a huge...
Judy, do you remember Matt Fry mentioned to principals in our last leadership team meeting, as we transition into the new product, I will find out. I think Edline continues to work within Blackboard.
I think it's a great asset,
Yeah.
especially to, the communication between the student, the teacher, and the parent. It's phenomenal. But I see there's been a drop-off.
Okay.
So, thank you very much.
I will bring that to our area superintendents, that was a concern that came forward in our parent meeting.
Other than that, you're doing a fantastic job. Thank you.
Thank you. Judy, can you write those things? Thank you.
Hi, I was wondering if you could tell me if the calendar for the 2014-15 year that's posted online is a finalized one, and if we're working on the assumption that
Yes.
we are not going to be a high-performing district and can't start early.
Yes.
There are some significant changes
Yes.
and a couple of
Yes.
slightly bizarre things going on.
Yeah, and some of the most bizarre challenge really was our energy. And I think we talked about this several meetings ago, but it was a desire to still finish at the end of the first semester, which has been immensely important to not only our teachers, but to this group here as well. I even polled one time, if you remember, and it was like universal. Yes, we want the first semester, and so to start a little later and have that happen, you have to get the number of clock hours in to make it happen, and we did. But it does make the semesters a little unbalanced from a clock hour perspective. And it does make some stuff in that first semester look different.
Right.
There is once again been a push that's probably going to go nowhere in the legislature to free districts up and start. And I'll tell you, one of the superintendents brought forward, it's not next year, but the year after, I think, where it's one time every 7 years, Labor Day falls at a certain point, and by following current state rules, we'll have to start in pretty late, and that was his concern. They've always tried to get the first semester in before the winter break.
Right.
But yeah, there's some things that we would have preferred to not have moved around the way we did, but that's why they were done.
So that hanging day from the first semester, that's the Tuesday after
Yes.
we come back, and then
Yes.
ending school on a Monday, and
Yes.
and those sorts of things.
Ending
are
school on a Monday.
that's
High
the
school
schedule.
principals have already asked about, because we got policy about when they can have graduation that's affected. Yes.
Right. Okay.
We would have preferred to not have done any of that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
15, 16, when Labor Day isn't until the 7th.
Yeah.
Which really don't.
Yeah, that's the one that is really going to challenge everybody. And but I calling apples apples, there is a very powerful lobby that has fought against, mostly from the tourism industry, being able to start earlier, and they win. Go ahead.
This is my first meeting, so you may have covered this another time, but it's just a personal issue because I have a 7th grader that doesn't like to write. So typically there's an 8th grade writing assessment that's FCAT related.
Mhm.
So if we go to Common Core, does that mean there won't be that writing test, or how will writing be evaluated? Just on a personal level, because like I said, my son is brilliant everywhere but writing, and I'm
Yeah.
already anxious about it.
As
And
I
if you told
understand-
me it wasn't happening, I would be happy.
Yeah, as I understand, it's not happening. The writing tests will go away, but next
Thank
year.
you.
And I want to make sure that's not for high school only, but I don't believe it is. I mean, yeah. And again, but I want to make sure there are some written elements around which those writing skills will be a part of the evaluation in the English language arts test, even in some of the others. There is no writing test. Correct. Writing prompt, that is gone. It's also going away in the ACT or the SAT?
I just have a question. All of my teachers at our school, Lewis Carroll, know that I come here, so they wanted me to ask if this year we could possibly have mulch delivered in our playground. It's been 2 years since we've had mulch, but I want to thank you for removing a tree. We had a big, huge tree. All the roots were bringing the pipes up, and the kids were thinking they were going to dig to China. So, and there was pipes everywhere. So they did remove that, and the pipes were taken care of, but they brought in more dirt. So the kids are now playing soccer in the dirt and bringing all the dirt into school, and Mr. Calvin is getting all this dirt. And so that is a question from my teachers.
Where's the mulch?
Where's the mulch?
Okay.
And then second of all, we have, our playground is open to the driveway and all the parking. And we have a lot of people I go to the school 3 or 4 times a week, and I'm out at the playground, and we just have random people that literally walk through our parking lot, through the playground, out the back gate to a subdivision. And the gate is not locked, and the playground is open to all traffic.
Is it our gate and our fence?
Yes.
I can't speak why it's not locked, but I can try to find out.
I believe it is.
Okay.
And then we have another one on the other side that has had an orange gate. It's an orange paper gate that has been there for the entire year. And it's next to where there's a big ditch there, so it's not like people are going to walk there, but the orange thing has been there all year long. And so none of our fences, all of our gates are like open all the time. They're never shut, they're never locked. This orange thing's still there. But is there something we can do about the people that walk through there? I mean, we've corralled them and said, no, you can't do this, and they're like, we're going that way. And I mean, unless we hold them down and sit on them and call the police, what?
Yeah. Well, I suppose, I mean, if it gets bad enough, if somebody just says, I don't care what you say, I'm not walking around here, I'm going right through there.
Yeah,
we could say that we're going to trespass you if you continue. We hate to go there.
Right.
The bigger answer to your question is, and I was going to live one meeting outside of the sales tax world, but let me jump into it.
Thank you.
Because we will certainly have all of our HVAC, all of our year-by-year projects that will come out, but also included in that, and Dane Theodore has said this, we will be doing some both what are called single access pointing, some safety issues, particularly for elementary school, that involve fencing and involve access point. In other words, how do you route people to one access point and control that? So embedded in what your conversation is would be some of that. It will be there. But, we've got to be successful, because I'm just going to be candid with you. Outside of that, we've got folks that don't have water coming to the school or air conditioning in the school, or the sable roof, which criminally wasn't holding moisture out for a long time, and those are going to rise to the top. Now, we have other things. What rises to the top, I want to make sure, is Dane Theodore, I'm going to use the expression he uses, safety to life. Those things go right to the top. Even in our time, we had 100% completion last year of safety to life issues. Okay? So, but those aren't them. These are additional safety kind of access pointing that we want to get to. Yes.
Hi there.
Hi.
I have a question about any school closures this year, such as Feldstone.
Yeah, we have no school closures on the 14-15 cut list or anything else.
Okay. And over spring break, we spent our time in Denver, and we had a couple of parents I talked to that were surprised that we're not paying for our buses. The parents don't. They get charged for each child that rides the bus. So, yeah.
We had, I think, 3 buses or whatever that we had to maintain that were magnet related. And part of the biggest part of the reason was we were competing for I guess a $14 million STEAM grant, which we earned, largest STEAM grant in all of Florida. And you couldn't apply to those if you took transportation away from any existing magnet school.
So, well, those parents were impressed that we don't pay for our sports, we don't pay for our buses, they were like, wow, we're coming to Florida. So,
well,
thank you.
we don't pay for sports, right? That's right now. And I don't want our kids to. I don't want our kids to do that. You say they're from another state, so I mean, it's not. This is not crazy talk. I mean, anybody that was at the Vieira budget meeting, there was a parent that stood up, and they had come from Georgia, right? And she said, at the school we left, the art teacher's gone, the music teacher's gone, and the media specialist is gone. That's what she said. So these things are not in a vacuum. We have 4% of the media specialists in Florida. 2.6% of the kids, but 4% of the media specialists. Now, why is that? It ain't because we have 2 media specialists at every elementary school. It's because some elementary schools in Florida have 0. The media specialist is gone. Not media assistant. We still have assistants. The specialist is gone. That's why we have 4% of them, because our specialists are still here. And thank goodness for them.
I know with the budget issues, we don't want to lose teachers and people in critical areas. We don't want to lose our arts and our music. And I understand that, you know, just like any business, you've got a certain amount of money and that's what you have to do. But there seems to be, there's so much waste that goes on in our schools. I mean, a lot of duplicate paperwork. I mean, I'm filling out the same form 4 times for one school, paper form. So why are we not transitioning to more technology where your front office has a form and then everyone else accesses computer? The nurse doesn't need to have a paper form. The teacher doesn't need to have a separate paper form. And if we could put those things online to be accessed, people could print them out from home, fill them out at the comfort of their own home, and bring them in.
Yeah.
Or, you know, even better, fill them out online where you're, you know, I mean, I know there has to be some degree of paper, but I mean, I have 4 children, and I cannot tell you how many times I've filled out the same piece.
A couple answers to that. We are working in a lot of ways to try to get a lot of our processes. Some of those things may not be ours. I don't know all the things you're talking about, but there are papers that have to come through us and all the way up to the Department of Ed, and they will dictate how they go. Now, and the other answer I guess that I would give is that make it all digital. That has a cost too.
Oh, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
The question becomes, how quickly can we convert and train and provide opportunity? And then when people say, okay, I don't have a computer, I don't have access to one.
Well, right, but what we had it because I came from South Carolina.
Right.
And now, y'all, don't get me wrong. I mean, they used to come at us with school fees, where they would tell us we had to pay fees for our children to go to public schools. So I was very surprised when I came to Florida and there was nothing like that. I mean, that was a good thing.
Don't say Florida. You came to Brevard.
Okay.
Fees are alive and well
came
in
to
the state of
Brevard.
Florida, and they are here too. We have some fees, but
Oh, nothing like that. I mean,
No, I get it.
$75 for a middle school student.
yeah, I know.
But
If you've never been anywhere else, you don't know, but I know.
What we did have there was when people were signing up for school, there was an option where you
Right.
could say, I have access and I can do this, so please only send me things. Or sign up one student to get forms. Only send stuff to this one student.
I get it.
And then you're not having to send.
We are working to try to digitalize a lot of those processes. We don't have enough people to move paper ourselves. We want to do that the best we can. I promise you that we're going to keep working at that.
Awesome.
I completely agree with that point. It's a very interesting thought that technology could save us money. I mean, it may be a upfront cost and it needs to be sustainable,
Right.
but there's so many opportunities for savings, including textbooks. I don't know if you looked at downloading a textbook, but it's $15 versus, I'm guessing $100 for a regular textbook. So I've been looking at the most innovative tech companies in the world. I'm fascinated by them and what they do.
I don't mean to stop you short, but I will tell you, what we get for textbook money and what we must purchase with textbook money is required by the state. So you may tell me a lot of different options, but right now, we could not avail ourselves of them under current guidelines if we wanted to.
I understand. I'm just saying, like, we're looking to the future.
Okay.
And we have to adjust to that, and I think fairly quickly, because we have a generation growing up not prepared for the technology that's over at University of Florida even.
Mm-hmm.
And my suggestion is, why don't we create some type of educational design lab where we can like be adjusting to all of these problems very, very quickly. Why don't, I mean, this is what Zara does, and that's why they're extremely efficient and effective in adapting to a very uncertain world. Why, I mean, like putting that online, we need a talent cloud of people that we can tap into at the least possible cost, and then get rid of them when we don't need them. But we don't have to like keep, paying the bills there.
Okay.
I think like that type of efficiency is the way to go. I mean, that's what all these, I mean, we can resist becoming more innovative, but eventually we're going to be forced to be.
Yeah, I can assure you, we're not attempting to resist being innovative. We're going to try to do the best we can. We really will. With that, I say thank you. As usual, I'll stick around if you have an individual question of me. At least for a minute, I got a meeting coming up at 12:30 that I got to prepare for a little bit. But thank you very much for all that you do, and I hope your kids have a great finish to the school year.
Just to remind you, the art show in the back corner, if you have time to stop by, your Legacy Club handouts on the way out. If you are one of the Titusville MIMS schools and need a poster, and the survey, parent survey for the leadership teaming survey, if you could leave that on the desk if you need to, or send that to me in the courier. Thank you all for coming, and I will see you next year.